Family drama. Update. I, 38 male, just found out that my brother, 19 male, has been perving on my wife, 37 female. Original story. Background, my brother has been staying with us since lockdown, after his university closed. He couldn't stay with our parents because they just sold the house and moved to a one-bedroom apartment and our sister lives in a different part of the country. He was the oops baby, so I hope that explains the age gap. My wife and I have a 5-bedroom home, but currently don't have children yet. We decided to adopt 2 kids in our 40s, so we let him stay here. My brother has always been different. He's a bit of a loner and doesn't have a lot of friends outside of his online group. He's a shy geeky kid, but he's otherwise alright, or so I thought, when you get to know him. So, here's what happened. The Wi-Fi doesn't quite reach my brother's room, so he usually does his schoolwork and other stuff in the dining room. A few nights ago, I was walking to the fridge after waking up in the middle of the night. Wife and I sleep early, and saw my brother working on something out, and as I got closer, I saw a very compromising picture of my wife, cleavage shot as she was gardening. He noticed me and quickly closed the window like he was watching adult stuff. I was too shell-shocked to say anything at that time, and he just smiled awkwardly and ran to his room with the laptop. When I realized that something was up, I knew I had to find out. The next day, I asked my brother to pick up some groceries and some lunch for us, and while he was away, I went to his room, something I've never done since he moved, and, well, it wasn't pretty. I saw a couple of my wife's bras and some of her undies, which I can only assume he used to please himself. I took his laptop and decided to snoop. I knew his password because I borrowed his Crunchyroll account to watch this anime my friend recommended. I don't usually watch anime. There, I saw some of the most sickening entries I've read. There were pictures of my wife in a towel, her working out, her in compromising positions, etc. All taken without her consent by the looks of it. The effer even logs every time he touches himself to the image of my wife. The creepiest part? He sometimes listens in on us when we're being intimate. My wife can be a bit loud, but we didn't think it would be a problem since his bedroom was in a different part of the house, guest bedroom. I left the room feeling like I needed a shower. It was absolutely disgusting. Now I don't know what to do. I find myself fighting the urge to pummel him into next week every time I see him. I haven't told my wife yet cause I'm 100% sure she will feel violated and disgusted, so I want to find the best solution first before doing so. I so desperately want to kick him out, but he has nowhere else to go. Even if I do, what should I tell my parents? The truth? This will most likely break the family apart. I do plan on telling my wife soon, but if I do, I can almost guarantee she would want nothing to do with him and would never want to visit the family if he's around. I'm so freaking lost right now. Any advice will help. Still fighting the urge to beat my brother to a bloody pulp. Edit, if you're wondering, I did take pictures as proof. Now for the top advice. Make a copy of everything. Edit, oops, pressed enter too soon everything, but you need that evidence. Take pics of what you found in his room and where you found it. Take it away. Tell your parents to collect him, confront him, then kick him out. He absolutely does not nor can't be trusted to be in your house, or around your wife. Also tell her ASAP. She'll feel betrayed if you kick him out without telling her. She deserves to know. If you're not telling her because you're afraid of how she'll react, then that only proves that he needs to go and you need to tell her. I'm sorry, man. I agree with this. Make copy of all of them and then delete it, and then save some other pics in the same name and then delete them too. Otherwise, he will be able to get them back. My nephew got himself into a similar situation. This is definitely one of those issues that divides a family, and you're just going to have to accept that. You have a responsibility to your wife here. She will feel even more violated if she found out you were covering for him, no matter the reason. She needs to know ASAP, and your brother needs to be kicked out immediately. Keep the laptop and all the evidence you found. Your wife may decide to press charges against him and you will need the proof to back it up. Take videos of your wife's things in his room, and the log he's created on his laptop. Tell your parents the reason he's been kicked out, but share only the details your wife feels comfortable with him knowing. He's 19, he's an adult, and he knows damn well what he did and that it's wrong. Make a copy of everything, record it with your phone, have proof of everything. Whether you want to confront him or go straight to the police, is up to you, but I'd definitely be kicking him to the curb that instant. Also, his parents definitely need to know so he doesn't try blaming you or lying about it. Show them everything. Now for the poster's small update. I told my wife. The Redditors who said I should tell her first before anything because she was the victim, were absolutely right. I'm giving her all the power to decide what to do about it. A lot has happened, but there are still things that need to be settled. Too long to end here and too incomplete to make a new update post. Hopefully we'll have everything settled tomorrow or the day after. I'll write the update once everything is settled and I calm down. No, I'm not going to beat up my brother, but I have thought about it. Now for the full update. This update was long overdue, so I apologize to everyone who waited for this. I've had daily messages asking me about what happened, and now that I'm in a better place to actually talk about it, I can tell everyone about what happened. First of all, thank you to the Redditors who pointed out that I should tell my wife first before confronting my brother. You were right, she did appreciate the fact that I gave her control over the situation. I told my wife the next day after posting, and needless to say, she did not take it well. She says she feels violated and unsafe in her own home. See, the thing is, my wife and I have been together for almost 15 years, so we literally saw this kid grow up. We took him out to the movies, to the beach, etc. We sometimes even joked to my parents that he was our practice baby. My wife has a tendency to distrust people in general, as a lot of people in her life have let her down in the past. Imagine how hurt and betrayed she was when she found out someone she trusted and loved dearly betrayed her like that. Honestly, if I wasn't consoling my wife then, I probably would have gone through with the initial idea and beat the ever-living crap out of my brother. After she calmed down and went to sleep, I called my sister and talked about the situation. My sister and I are close, given that we're Irish twins. I feel like she needed to know because she has 2 teenage daughters herself, and who knows what my brother would do to them if given the chance. We talked and she was clearly mad. She loves my wife like a sister and they're quite close themselves. She said she would support whatever decision we make and that our brother would also be unwelcome at her place for the foreseeable future. Then we confronted my brother. At first, he denied it, but when I showed him the evidence, he started ugly crying and begging us to forgive him. I gave him an ultimatum. Either he lets me in his phone laptop and delete everything, or I call the police. There was so much more stuff on his computer than I initially thought. So many more stolen pictures of my wife that were definitely taken without consent. The effer even recorded the audio of us doing it. Who does that? So, after hours of me looking for as much crap as possible, and pretty much clearing most of his hard drive, he eventually left without much of a fight. Oh, and we definitely threw out my wife's defiled underwear and are most likely going to have the room he stayed in cleaned professionally. I checked and thankfully he didn't have any hidden cameras anywhere. Oh, and if you're wondering how he got pictures of my wife in a towel, the shower for the masters doesn't have hot water yet, so my wife uses the shared one in the same area. She would usually walk out of the bathroom with just a towel on and go change in our walk-in closet. This shouldn't have been a problem because the guest bedroom was in a different part of the house far from the main bedrooms and it had its own bathroom, so my brother had no reason for being there. Needless to say, my wife is still shaken up about the whole thing, which is why I didn't think about writing an update until now. I'm sorry, but my wife's well-being is my priority above anything else. My mom eventually called me asking what happened. She seemed very confused, so I figured my brother didn't tell her anything at all. I told her what happened and needless to say, it did not end well. She kept asking me to forgive my brother and take him back in. She ranted about how difficult it would be to support him, and how what I'm doing is breaking the family apart. I let her talk till I eventually said my brother would no longer be welcome in my home. I told her that she needed to get him therapy, and that until then, there's no chance we would ever see him. My mom told me she'd talk to my sister about it and I said, good luck, she's mad at him too. Not sure what's going to happen to our family now. The reason why we got the big house was because we wanted everyone to come over during the holidays and stay with us, but I'm not sure if my parents will at this point, and there's no chance my brother is ever coming back anytime soon. Thankfully my sister is 100% on my side and we're going to talk about what we're doing for Thanksgiving soon. My wife hasn't really been the same either, but she's getting better now that my brother is gone. We're talking about therapy, which is something she's very willing to try out. We took a drive to the beach earlier, chill guys, we didn't leave the car, and talked about the future. We both agreed that after this whole COVID thing is over, we're going to finally start our family with kids. We want to. Being a mom is something she always wanted, but we both wanted to be financially secure enough to give them a good life, and for us to also be in a position where we didn't have to work so much and just spend time with them. The sparkle in her eyes when we talked about our life together with kids, told me that while things aren't good right now, we're going to be okay. I honestly can't wait to be a dad myself. So yeah, long story short, brother is gone, wife is still sad, sister is on my side but mom isn't, and I'm going to be a dad in a few years. Thanks to everyone who gave me their advice. It honestly helped me clear my head and make the right decision to tell my wife first. Oh, and to answer questions that may come up. No, we did not go to the police. My brother deleted everything voluntarily and left without a trace. I'm sure the pictures are still out there somewhere, but thankfully, they aren't too explicit that it would severely damage my wife's reputation. And no, we aren't going to try and get pregnant or anything like that. We plan on adopting, which is something we both talked about early on. So again, thanks to everyone who messaged and commented. I may not have read everything nor have I replied to everyone, but rest assured you are all greatly appreciated. Now for some comments. How securely did you delete the files? Otherwise they may still be recoverable. Sorry to see this, friend. It sucks, but it sounds like you and your wife, and your sister, are together in this. That's a good support network to have. It's all I can think about reading it. Absolutely everything can be easily recovered in like 10 minutes, and being a creep teenager, I really think he already did it. He should have at least kept the hard drive. I'm glad you guys kicked him out. What he did is disgusting and violating. Your mom trying to convince you to get over it isn't okay either, and completely disrespectful and inconsiderate to your wife, who's the victim here. I wouldn't even feel comfortable being around him ever again if I was her. The idea of my husband's little brother doing that to me is just traumatizing and gross. I'm sorry she had to deal with that. I hope she can overcome it and find peace again. Good luck with the kids. Yeah, she's still pretty shaken, but I know this will pass. I'm definitely not going to force the idea of my brother being around her again, even after he gets therapy. And thanks for the kind words. I can't wait to be a dad. Dude, your mom is off her rocker. She strikes me as the kind of person who still claims, my son would never do this, as she's bailing him out of jail for shooting illegal upskirt shots from a hidden camera in the mall bathroom. I'm thinking she's pissed because now he has to live with her. Not that it makes her reaction acceptable at all, but that's my guess. Now for the last story. Update: my parents falsely claimed my brother of being a creep, and it's really affecting him. Original story. My brother is 15, my sister is 17, and I'm 23 female. This is really stupid and it shouldn't have happened, but it did. Now I just want advice on how to make it better. Also, this is the story my brother told me as I wasn't there. He was in his room playing on his phone minding his own business. He got up to take out the trash. He came back to lay down on his bed. As he was laying down, he noticed their dog walking out of his room. He ignored it. Later on, his sister 17 noticed clothes were missing. She went looking for it and found it in my brother's room. The problem was that, it was wet and slimy. She immediately told our parents and they thought the worst. My dad, mom, and brother argued about it. Rude things were said. Apparently, mom said I knew you were weird, but not this weird. My dad said, I raised a predator. In the end my parents asked me to pick him up and let him stay with me for a couple of days. When I picked him up, he didn't say anything and just sat in silence. He spent the entire time in the room he was staying in. He only came out for dinner. He skipped breakfast and lunch. His eyes were always red when he came out, so I assume he was crying. I've never seen him cry. Most of the time when he's upset, he just has a stone face, so what they said must have got to him. Finally, at the end of the week his parents called me and said they wanted to talk to him, so they came over. Before they came over, I tried to talk to him but he ignored me. When parents came, they apologized to him. Over the week, they noticed more of sister clothes in his room until one day, my dad caught the dog with my sister clothes. My brother just said okay and went home. I tried to ask my parents if he could stay longer but they said that wouldn't be necessary. Later on, I got a call asking me what did he do over my house, because he's just been in his room all day at their house. Is there anything I can do to help him feel better? Advice would be greatly appreciated. Now for the top advice. Your parents need to apologize to your brother profusely. Beyond that, I sadly have no other advice to offer. I can understand why he's upset. I wonder what kind of people OP's parents are, to immediately assume it was their brother instead of an obvious answer, the dog. Poor fellow. Your parents seriously attacked this kid, and to think they can just say I'm sorry and everything be fine, is mind-boggling. They destroyed any trust he had in them, and this will not be an easy fix. It appears they had their mind set before even accusing him, thanks to your other sister. Yeah, he probably doesn't have much use for her either right now. Your brother needs space and time to heal. Being at home and being made to interact with this right now, is punishment, even though they are his parents and sister. If I were you, I'd tell my parents what they did was inexcusable. I'd talk to him one-on-one and see if he wanted to stay with you for a few weeks. He's 15, being accused of creeping on his sister, really put a dent in his self-esteem and self-worth. He needs time to heal. I would also tell him you were there for him no matter what. He will eventually seek affirmation that he's not the weirdo he was labeled. Be there for him. As for your parents, good grief, they need counseling, and your sister probably does too. They made their beds by striking him down so harshly, now they'll have to deal with it a while. It's tough being a 15-year-old kid without these accusations. He really got put behind the 8 ball with this situation. I hope the best for him. I did tell them that was messed up. They don't see it though. They tried to pass it off as they were just upset in the moment, but I wasn't buying it. Sadly, he's ignoring my calls and texts. I am thinking about just driving to see him though. And if he wants, he could stay with me for a while. I'm with him. I don't really know why they went all in on him. There has to be something larger happening if they can say all those things and not care how he feels. I don't know, but they do need some help too. Added for a little update, good news. He can stay with me until Sunday. I had to lie a little to parents to get him to come. I told them he should get out the house, because he spends most of his day sitting in one spot with online school. They didn't believe me at first, but I said it would be a chance to get him out his room. They finally agreed. He was about to go to sleep, so I came just in time. I think the plan right now is to just spend time with him this week. I'm broke, so it's going to be mostly home stuff. I tried to talk to him on the car ride. I asked him if he's okay. He said he's fine, and we had a little conversation about his school. So at least he's talking now. He's in the spare room, so everything is okay right now. Now for the full update. So, I've been asked to update the situation. Many of you guys asked that I let brother live with me, but I had to take him back to our parents' house this morning. The last update I gave was when my brother was allowed to spend the week at my house. That was last Sunday. We spent the first day, Monday, at my house just talking. He spends most of the time in the room. At first, he wasn't responding back. It was going nowhere quickly. So, I ended the conversation by telling him our parents were wrong and that he is not weird. I didn't say it exactly like this, but I hope you get the point. He just had a stone face and we stopped talking. Tuesday he still didn't really come out of the room. I offered to go to McDonald's and he came out the room to eat at the table. We just talked about random different things. He wasn't really interested in the conversation until we started talking about my Xbox. We eventually started talking about Madden. He started talking about how good he is at the game. We finished eating, then he went back to his room. Wednesdays I bought Madden. I don't play sports game. I play games like Cuphead or cartoon animated games. I asked if he wanted to play and he agreed. I know this is serious, but Madden absolutely sucks. The game started cheating as soon as we started. The first thing my player did was fumble the ball. He was killing me at it. He actually laughed a couple of times, and he seemed to be enjoying himself. We spent a good portion of the day just playing. Thursday was pretty much the same as Wednesdays, but he was talking more. I was gonna go to the movies, but COVID is still a thing. We eventually just settled to watching Netflix. He spends half the day in his room, but he is coming out more. Friday, I decided to try to talk to him about the situation again. I pretty much told him I would talk to our parents to get them to understand why he was hurt by it. I also took the advice of seeing if he wanted to talk to a professional. He asked me not to ask them about it. He said it was just better if nobody brought it up again. I was a little shocked, but there's not much I could do. We then decided to go to a walking trail. At first, he didn't want to go, but I convinced him to come. We just spent more time talking. This also made me realize that I should talk to my siblings more often. He seemed happier. Saturday or yesterday was pretty much us just talking again. We decided instead of Madden to just play random games I had. I don't have a lot, but I think he had a good time. When it was dinner time, he got kind of quiet again. I asked him what was wrong. He said he wasn't ready to go back home yet. I didn't know what to say. I asked him if he wanted me to talk to our parents to see what we could do. He just said no again. I pretty much told him he could come to my house anytime he wanted to. That leads us to today. He is back at his house. I was going to talk to our parents, but I assumed he has a reason for not wanting me to talk to them. I know you guys said something about getting him a therapist, but he said no to the idea. I did call my sister to see how she's doing. She said she tried to apologize to her brother, but he ignored her. I don't know what's happening with that, but one thing at a time. And that's pretty much how the week went. Overall he seemed much happier than he was last week. I texted him and he wants to come back over sometime next week. Now for some closing comments. You're a good sister. Most people would kill to have someone like you in their life. Keep it up, OP, take care of your brother, sounds like he really needs somebody right now. The brother is bottling up his feelings, so knowing he is his sister to support him will mean everything to him. Your bro reminds me of myself when I was 15. I remember being angry and shy back then. I would mainly be quiet and just keep to myself. This made me a bit of an a-hole. I was falsely claimed of stealing money from my parents and it sucked. Talking about it sucked. When the truth came out, it still sucked. I can imagine he's just really angry with his family, excluding you, and also embarrassed at the same time. I doubt he'll want to talk, but playing games with him, or just having fun, sounds like a good way to keep a healthy relationship with him. Hey, be strong for your brother, but also don't forget to be strong for yourself as well. It's heartwarming to see siblings taking care of each other, even though there are hardships to go through. I suggest family therapy, or even individual therapy. Maybe an outside party might help your brother to heal from what happened. Ask your parents about it. Be sure to communicate. Communication is key to solve this situation. And that's it for this video, guys. If you have thoughts to share, leave a comment below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you like this content. I'll catch you in the next one. Good day everyone.